Welcome to our telecast. I'm Pete Royce, working alongside Jay Horgan. The opponent for the Panthers today is the Shrewsbury High Colonials, who come to town with a mark of 3-4. Franklin still perfect on the season, 5-0. Jay, this starts a streak of 8 non-conference games in the next 15 for the Panthers. This is where they're looking to really build strength heading down towards playoff time down the road.
Yeah, this is, Pete, traditionally with vacation week is when they start fitting in the non-conference games. It's a little easier because most leagues don't schedule league competition this week.
And they'll continue with some good matchups, Bishop Feehan down the road, and on. Catholic Memorial's on the schedule, St. John's of Shrewsbury. But today it's the Shrewsbury High Colonials. Jay, they come to the school here with a record of 3-4, but they've won 2 in a row. And what Coach Nate Skirmont told me before the game is, we've had a good week. We want to keep it going. But, Jay, they're decimated with injuries. They have 5 starters out with injuries.
Well, just looking across the field at the sideline, you could see all the players in street clothes.
Yeah. And so they're very, very young. He's got 8 freshmen suited up for the game today and 3 sophomores, so there's 11 of their team members.
Yeah.
And talking to Coach Chris Baker of the Panthers, everybody's healthy, Jay, so he's got a full complement of players here for this game, which should be a good one.
Eric Benson.
And Doug brought his signs, recruiting officials.
Yes, yeah. We are looking for lacrosse officials all the time.
4 12-minute periods. We're underway from Franklin, the Panthers in the home white, and the Colonials of Shrewsbury in the dark blue with yellow trim. Franklin on offense, winners of their first 5 games. This is Thomas Quinn. He had a good game against Canton. The Panthers take it behind the box. Everybody getting a touch here in the opening salvo. Out front is Nate Walsh. Walsh setting up the play. Everybody converging on the goal. Walsh takes it himself, and he scores.
Wow.
What a shot by Nate Walsh at 11:16. 44 seconds in, 1-0 Franklin.
And I believe, Pete, Walsh is one of those sophomores you were mentioning.
Walsh is a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not a bad start for the sophomore.
Beautiful goal. Beautiful goal. We'll see how the loss of 5 key players will impact this game. Shrewsbury, though, did win their last 2. They had victories versus Leominster, 6-3, and also Groton Dunstable. That one was 3-0, so they got a shutout. Panthers, just for comparable scores, the Panthers defeated Leominster 15-6, and Shrewsbury, as we said, took them 6-3, much more lower scoring game. But Coach Baker told me this team, Shrewsbury, played Canton in a preseason match this year, and they held with them almost through maybe 3/4 of the game. So he feels that, anything can happen.
We do have a flag down, Pete, so there's going to be
call?
a delayed penalty coming.
Well, that was one thing about the last game, Jay. There was a lot of penalties against the Panthers.
Yeah, this will go against clearly the Panthers. And now that Franklin is touched, we'll get the whistle.
So we'll wait for the call. Tyler Barranco was controlling that ball for most of the delayed call. Official's going to go over to the sideline. Looks like 1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute flag against the Panthers, and we'll see who's in the box there for Franklin.
Is that number 19?
Yeah.
Carter Balducci.
Balducci. So 1 minute, and the Colonials will play a player up for 1 minute of time. And unlike in other sports, when you score shorthanded, you do not get your player out of the box.
Yeah.
They stay in. Mishandled ball there. This is Barranco. Barranco. He still carries it over. Wow, a big number, 97, Jacob Carter.
Yeah.
There's the shot. A
nice
save
save
by Friedman. And Friedman will get it going for the Panthers. Takes it behind his own net. He had a great game against Canton. Sam Friedman, the senior goalie. 1-0 Franklin. Still trying to kill the penalty for 17 more seconds. And Quinn Keelty has it. He carried the American flag out to the field here today.
It's going to be a turnover. They didn't get it across the midfield stripe quickly enough.
Jack Frigon was the other one who carried the Franklin flag out. And the penalty has 8 seconds remaining for the penalty to Carter Balducci. There's a beautiful save by Friedman. Point-blank shot for the Colonials. Players out of the area. We're even now. Good look in front. The bounce is too high, and just hitting it into the turf on his drive was Liam Dowd. He just spiked it. First to the ball are the Colonials, so they'll retain it. 2.5 gone here in the first period. Pete Royce, Jay Horrigan alongside our producer today is Chris Leverone. Dig for the ball and a foul called on the Colonials. That's going to be on Justin Lee, and the Panthers will put it in play at midfield. This is Walsh. He's got the goal. Jack Fairweather with a touch. Now the Panthers take it behind. Charlie Ballerino, he had a good game against Canton as well. The Panthers will go into their offense.
Looks like they made a concerted effort to send it around the horn there, Pete, where everybody got a touch.
Yeah, they're looking for their best opportunity, and they're going to give the ball to the Colonials. I thought Franklin was closest, but no.
Well, I think it's because they determined, or the officials felt, that it was a pass, not a shot attempt.
Okay. Another good look for the Colonials, taking a strong hit, was Liam Mulvina.
Looks like we've got a timeout.
Wow, that's kind of an interesting call there.
Yeah.
That would be, I think you have to have the ball on offense to call the time. So I think that's Coach Nate Skirmont with the timeout for Shrewsbury. No, Jay, you look at the different schools that have come to town over the years in different sports, and we've had some big schools. You think of Taunton with their enrollment. Shrewsbury is bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
I was talking to their coach today. They're up to 1,900 students in the school. The school is young. It's been the new school. I lived in Shrewsbury for 20 years, and I never saw, my kids didn't go to their new school. Their new school now is bursting at the seams. They need to expand already.
Yeah.
I've never seen a community blossom like Shrewsbury. Always has grown, but it's out of sight. And they have a beautiful athletic complex, which we've enjoyed different sports over there over the years. But they have to build an addition already.
Yeah, it's a growing area, and we see it, just in every sport. They are lucky enough to have more students trying to participate in interscholastic activities. So the town of Shrewsbury, Pete, you would probably know better, being from out there originally, but it just seems to grow and grow and grow.
And a lot of high tech is coming. It continues to come into Shrewsbury, and a connection to Franklin. Cara Ellis, the Franklin AD, was most previously at Shrewsbury, I believe.
Oh, was she? Okay.
Yes, she was. She's here today.
Yeah.
Revisiting with some of the coaches whom she knows. I didn't ask her who she's rooting for, but I would assume Franklin. 1-0, 8:15 left. Colonial's playing pretty strong. You can see how they hung with Canton. Another save by
off his stick
by Friedman. That was a tremendous blast by Jack Eloisi. And Franklin will take it back. It's good to have a morning game. Usually we're staring into the sun at around sunset. But not today. It's high above us.
Beautiful day out.
71 degrees here. And the pass there, the shot, it was blocked. What a stop by Luke McRae, their sophomore goalkeeper. Beautiful passing by the Panthers. They had it right where they wanted to, but McRae came up big.
Yeah, I think Franklin also had a player enter the crease.
Ball comes up to Justin Lee. I was watching George Combs in pregame, the little diminutive player, number 97. He was really whipping the ball into the net, so he's got some scoring ability.
I love the fact that he has 97 on as the smallest player on the field.
No, it just covers his whole body.
Yeah.
And the ball is mishandled, and that should be Franklin with the ball.
Yeah.
Goes back to the end line on the pass, and 7:10 left. Franklin 1-0, but Colonial's hanging in, putting some upfield pressure. You haven't seen this too much, where Franklin can't get it started. The battle for it, and the aforementioned Combs missed it, and here come the Panthers on the run out. This is Ethan Barnes, the junior. His pass is mishandled, poking around down there. Still up for grabs, and now it's controlled by Travis Wingard. Wingard, he pokes it forward right into the stick of Ethan Barnes.
Now Franklin has the opportunity to kind of set up their offense with the ball actually in someone's stick.
Very low scoring start for the Colonials. This is Thomas Quinn. 11 is Ryder Hanchett, junior. Hanchett getting some early action. Over to Jack O'Connor. Barnes set it up at the top for Nate Walsh. Goes back a little bit. Under 6 to go. First period. Walsh shoots it's wide all the way to the back line.
It'll be Franklin's ball.
And Franklin will continue its offense.
Franklin, though, kind of uncharacteristically, especially while they were at the top of the offensive box, they were throwing some bad passes that were short-hopping people and, losing control of the ball as they're able to gain control right there.
Nice steal by Drew McCarthy. Out to Jack O'Connor. The Panthers once again will go into their structured play. 5:15 to go. Thomas Quinn. Back to Quinn. Quinn drops it. Nice pick up there by Quinn Keelty. Keelty to the exit goes. Out in front for the cutter. Just couldn't handle it there. Was Seamus Conlon. He would have been with a good look, but he couldn't grab it. So we'll start again with Keelty, and he's going to go off. Franklin will sub in for Keelty. It's Jack Fairweather coming back in. Seamus Conlon for the Panthers. Off the left shoulder to the X behind the box.
Good decision making. He thought he might have a pathway to the net, and he didn't, and then he didn't have an open teammate.
Ooh, player just took a blow to the chin strap. Back to Conlon. Under 4 to go in the fast-moving first period. Thomas Quinn, left-handed shot. It rolls in, and McRae was able to capture it. He's going to send a player away. Nice catch. Cross midfield. Player having trouble. Franklin chipping away at it, and they come back with the ball. And now a whistle for an injury for the...
No, I think it was a penalty. Or... I think they called him for interference, called the Franklin player.
Okay. It was Liam Malvina who went down. So the ball will go back to Shrewsbury. They're in the game, trailing it 1-0 only. Coming up on 3.5 to go in the first. Combs has it again, George Combs. Pass in front. Good look, a save by Friedman. And chasing it down is going to be Martin. Another good look. Shot in the
That's
goal. A wicked shot there. The shot put in by Tyler Barranco. It's 1-1. Tyler Barranco. He scores it at 3:11.
Yeah, nice shot, nice setup to that play by the Colonials.
So we're tied. Well, we said Shrewsbury hanging around. I'll say they're in a tie game with just 3:11 to go in the first period. Talking to Coach Baker before the game, he said, look, we're not taking Shrewsbury lightly. He said after the Foxborough game, which they got a real scare and almost lost, he said we don't take anybody lightly. And look, for good reason here today. Of course, it could turn around, but right now, a heavy hit.
That's gonna go a penalty.
Gasper. That's gonna be on Jordan Gasper.
That was the equivalent of a blindside hit in football.
See how many minutes they give Jordan Gasper. Second penalty against the Panthers, none yet against the Colonials.
And you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed, but both officials threw flags on that.
Yeah, that was a strong hit.
Yeah.
Jordan Gaspar will go, it'll be 1 minute, same as the previous penalty to Balducci. So once again, Shrewsbury with the tie goes player up for the next minute. 2:53 to go here in the first period. Pete Royce, Jay Horrigan, alongside our producer today, Chris Leverone. This Combs. Martin. And the Colonials will whip it around. Barranco. Pass mishandled. Franklin
got it.
Good hustle. Good hustle there by Alex Weber. And Friedman finds his target. Flynn Baker, the captain. Coach's son. Cross midfield. Flynn charging in, holding, shooting. Miss. A save by McRae. A beauty. Beautiful save by Luke McRae. And we stay even. 17 seconds left on the penalty to Gasper. Colonials back quickly. Combs, he's going to shoot. Saved by Friedman again. 2 seconds to go. 1 second, and the penalty is up to the Panthers, and Quinn Keelty has it for Franklin. Franklin looking for some space. Gasper out of the penalty area onto the field with the ball. Franklin sets a cutter through, and they'll take it back out to Quinn Keelty. 1:38 to go in the first. We're tied at 1. Franklin certainly controlled the time of possession, but hasn't changed the scoreboard. We're knotted up at 1. This is Gaspar. Spinning through. Gets the shot off. Bad angle, though, and it's picked off by a Colonial. And the steal coming in alone. The shot, it hits the post on the blast there by Quinn Keelty. It hit the upright post on Keelty's shot.
That's just bad luck.
That is bad luck. Colonials back, under a minute left. This is Lee. Colonials come back. Shot there, picked up by Friedman. He goes low to Keelty.
Nice job by Friedman keeping an eye on that ball as it skipped in down low.
Jack O'Connor to Jordan Gaspar. 40 seconds to go in the first period. So glad you're with us, fans, on Franklin TV, and we're streaming on YouTube. 71-degree day and a timeout called by Coach Chris Baker. 37.8 seconds to go. We've seen many times, Jay, where the Panthers can score in the last few seconds of a period.
Yeah.
And apparently they really want to set it up with the timeout. Panthers, with a great start to their season, they opened here against Oliver Ames. 19-1 was the winning score for the Panthers. Traveled to Milford on April 7th. The Panthers took that 15-4. Home to Taunton, 18-0. On the road to Foxborough, 10-8. And last on the 16th of April, They defeated Canton here 10-4. The score was 7-4 with about 3 minutes to go in the game. And a couple of key goals sealed it for Franklin in a penalty-marred game for both teams. But it was a bit chippy on the field in that game, and that's behind us now. And Franklin, after this one, will play on Saturday. I'm sorry, let's see. No, we'll check that out here. They will play next on the 26th. That's Saturday. A week from today is their next game. And they'll be at Bishop Feion and another 10 a.m. start.
Interesting the way the schedule is, that they, during this upcoming week, they don't have any games.
Yeah, that is interesting because it's school vacation week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. The girls will play one game on Thursday, the 24th, at Weymouth, and then they'll also play on Saturday, home to Bishop Feion.
Yeah.
So,
And in that, part of that is you play these schools to try to build up your strength of schedule
Right.
when the power rankings start
Right.
coming out.
exactly.
And you can't control the teams in your league. They are what they are each season. But you can control your non-league opponents. And Franklin, in all sports, has always done that, Pete, where they try to schedule against some real tough teams to keep that power ranking up.
I talked to Coach Baker about that very point, Jay, and he said, I'm pumped to play all these non-conference games.
Well, I'm sure the coaches and the players are, because it's a real test and they could see where they stand against other really good competition.
Exactly. Ball skips on the pass.
That may be up in the parking lot behind Horace Mann.
Nate Walsh fired it there. 25.1 seconds to go here in the first period on a summer-like day from Piscini Stadium. Another high number with it, 88, Cameron Moore. He's a captain. Back to Combs with an even higher number at 97. 10 seconds to go in the period. Combs in front, good pass, bobbled, and there's the horn ending the first period of play. Well, you have to hand it to the Colonials, Jay. Decimated with injuries, 5 starters out.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch of sophomores and freshmen on the team. He's got 8 freshmen, 3 sophomores. And I asked him what about your opponent here today, Franklin? He said, look, we know their history.
Right.
But this for us is like our Super Bowl. We have to play at that level to be good. And what better way to earn it than to get it done? And he said it's a real test from our young kids. As he said, throwing them off the deep end today.
Yeah. It's interesting, Pete, over the years, the evolution of lacrosse as it's moved around the state. You have always had, going back 50 years ago when I was in high school, there were teams out west. Long Meadow, I remember specifically, our high school team would come up from Connecticut to play them every year. They were always tremendous. But then as lacrosse started really growing, you had a lot of high schools in the middle of the state. A lot of them from that Midwalk League and all that, City of Worcester, that lacrosse was new to them. And when you'd go out and I don't know if lucky's the right word or unlucky, but I would go out and officiate some of those games. And all they were just kids swinging sticks at each other. And that, and you now see a lot of those programs can now play with some of these elite Franklin programs, other elite programs in the state. And that wasn't the case 20 years ago. So there's a benefit in that for Franklin. Their competition is strong. It helps them become a better team. And it, I guess good or bad, doesn't necessarily provide any cupcakes, thank you. That's what he was trying to say.
Yeah. And Franklin still will play Long Meadow, May 20th.
Yeah.
Long Meadow comes here. So that's a team that, like Franklin, with that rich lacrosse tradition.
More importantly, what is a cake cup? What was I trying to say there?
I
That
don't
was
know.
wow.
Yeah. A euphemism,
I don't know what it is.
a spoonerism,
Yeah,
I think it is.
yeah.
12 minutes up on the clock here at the Vicinity Stadium scoreboard. We get ready to start the second half. We'll go the other way. Franklin will go to from left to right across your screens. And Shrewsbury, with the tie, goes from right to left. And the Colonials get the win. Quersha, and he's going to take a hit and a foul on the
Yeah,
Panthers.
there was a push on the Panthers, loose ball push. So
Here he is with the ball, just underway in the second period. Jack Aloisi. Panthers start out. With it out there is Anthony Guarini. Guarini back. Colonials taking their time. Long possession brewing for the Colonials. And this is Guarini. Takes it behind the goal. Hustling. Looking for a cutter in front. Can't find one. Will take it back out. Out top it comes now to Jack Aloisi. Aloisi to Dowd. Back up top. Barranco looking for his second goal of the game. Barranco can't find a cutter. Still holding. Still warded off on the play. Barranco now another penalty. Here's the shot there, and it's a goal. And Shrewsbury has the lead.
There is actually 2 penalties against Franklin. The first one, I don't know if it was what it was. I think it had to do probably with the swinging of the stick. But the second one, and I believe that's Balducci, after the Shrewsbury player had released the ball and had slowed down, Balducci came up behind him and shoved him to the ground, and that drew a second flag.
So far, they haven't posted the goal.
Well, I think the officials were just talking.
I thought the goal, the flags, the penalty, it was a delayed call. I thought the goal scored before the whistle was blown. See if they posted here. It does not look like they will.
No.
So going off for the Panthers is going to be Drew McCarthy. He's going to go out, and also going out for Franklin is going to be Owen Essam.
They one of the penalties is a minute. The other one is 30 seconds. Although they had it on the board, Pete, as a 3-second penalty.
And there's the shot, and there's the goal. It is going to be a 2-1 lead. Tyler Barranco gets his second goal. Barranco gives the Colonials the lead, and they are fired up, as well they should. Goal comes at 10:36. 2 straight goals by Barranco. And the Colonials lead it. .10:36. Barranco with 3:11 to go in the first period, and now with 10:36, so he scored like 5 minutes apart, 2 goals. Here's the draw at midfield. See if the Franklin Panthers will get fired up by the fact that they've gotten behind and maybe need to be more determined here to take a victory today. Ball bouncing around at midfield. It comes into the Franklin zone. Scooped up there by Colonial. There's a big hit.
Yeah.
And that's another big hit. Well, this is what happened in Canton. A lot of penalties. And this one is going to be on Owen Essam. So Essam will be going down. No Colonials have incurred a penalty so far. 10:16 left. Essen will get 2 minutes this time.
Yeah, that was again, to kind of compare it to football, that was a late hit or an out of bounds hit.
I think it was more
from
out of
behind.
bounds, yeah.
From behind, yeah.
So the Colonials can build on their lead, 2-1.
And my guess is if Franklin keeps accumulating these heavy contact penalties, the amount of time they spend in the penalty box will increase. They can raise them up from a minute to 3 minutes.
Barranco, he's got both goals, looking for the hat trick. Behind the back shot there, over the shoulder, look by Barranco. And he misfires. How about that attempt by Barranco?
Yeah.
Goes behind the back.
Pete, I do like the fact that I haven't always been accused of making the smartest decisions, but
what a save
nice
by
save.
Friedman on the shot there by Liam Dowd.
But to make my first game, the one where it's 75 degrees out, that was a smart decision.
Good job, Jay. Yeah, I had one like 39 with
Yeah,
the wind.
yeah.
A long pass misfires. That was almost the length of the field there.
Yeah.
And it's going to go back, and McRae will chase it down for the Colonials. Looks like 1:30 left on the penalty to Owen Essam. Colonials having trouble, and they lose it. In front, underhand shot, and that was put there by Ethan Barnes, and it's going to be brought to the back line, and the Colonials will have it. 1:19 left on the penalty to Essam.
Whoa.
Leaping catch.
Yeah.
Taking a hit there was Aiden Lenahan Steele, and a whistle and a timeout. I think Shrewsbury with that timeout.
Yeah, I heard the coach calling for that as his player approached the midfield mark.
9:05 left in the half, 1:09 left in the penalty to Owen Essam, the junior. And Jay, you have to handle to the Colonials. They're not only hanging around, they got the lead.
Yeah, yeah.
They come in with a mark of 3-4. You know, their schedule, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Tantascwa, Algonquin, we've seen them. They lost to them. That's a strong team. Algonquin, 12 that score was 12-3. They lost at Dracut. They lost at Neshoba, versus Neshoba rather. The game, Dracut was home to Shrewsbury. And they lost to Wachusett. We mentioned them out of the Midwalk League. Those are big teams, big schools. They defeated Leominster and Groton Dunstable, but they found themselves in here. This is the type of game that Coach Skirmont said, if we can compete, we know what we got, because this is a strong program we're competing against, and we know we're going to have a good outlook if we can just play with them. Not only are you playing them, they have the lead. And they're also playing penalty-free lacrosse here today. So the Panthers will use the timeout to possibly regroup. The Colonials have scored the last two. Franklin opened up 11-6. Remember, they had one goal attempt that hit the post.
Yeah.
They've had some other attempts, and the sophomore McRae has looked good, as has Friedman, but two have gotten by Sam Friedman, the Franklin goalkeeper.
I hope that hitting the post attempt doesn't come back to haunt them in the end.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Shrewsbury has had some low-scoring games, 6-3 and 3-0. Those are both wins, so it's a strong defensive team. I think that's one of their strengths.
Yeah.
And even in their, they had one blowout loss, I guess, to Wachusett, but everything else was, 6-9, 5-1. So they've had some close games. It's probably a better team than their record shows at 3-4. Again, a huge school at Shrewsbury High. This is Barranco. He's got 2 goals so far. Shot, a save by Friedman. Kicks it back, and the Panthers will have it. Friedman has stopped some unbelievable shots. 34 seconds left on the penalty to Owen Essam. And Franklin mishandles the ball. Turnover in their own zone. And yes, it's going to be picked up by the Colonials' Travis Wingard. Back to Aloisi. And the Colonials will set it up with a 2-1 lead with 8:22 to go here in the first half.
Penalty about to expire.
Barranco. A shot there is wide by Jack Aloisi. And the penalty has expired. So Franklin at even strength once again. Out it comes to Jack Aloisi. Now to the high scorer there, Tyler Barranco. Not a big player, but he's got a good touch. He falls down.
You know, we've seen a few players slip on the turf today. I wonder why that is.
Barranco. 3 players defend him. He's certainly their catalyst. Tyler Barranco, he has it again. Picked up in there by Flynn Baker. There's another penalty against Franklin again.
I think that's it's going to be either a slash or a cross check.
Once again, Shrewsbury will have a player up. They can exhaust all their means of strategy here because they'll have the ball until the Panthers touch it. And there it is. And so it'll be the penalty here. It might be against Flynn Baker. We'll see.
Well, that didn't take long. Only 4.5 minutes into the second period to hear a shout out from the crowd, let him play, ref.
Flynn Baker is the one with the penalty, and he will be out for 1 minute. Is that, I think, the 5th penalty against the Panthers? Something
I believe
like
so.
that.
They are and have been for years. USA Lacrosse has worked with coaches, administrators, state associations, and officials groups to try to take the big hits and the just haphazard swinging of the stick out of the game because the potential for injury.
Franklin with a nice steal. Beautiful steal, but now the ball is battled for and picked up by Barnes. The steal was by Jack Frigon. Here's the Panthers back in close. Hanchett, Ryan. Franklin looking to tie with 6:28 to go. 15 seconds left on the penalty to Baker. Franklin will try to kill the penalty off here. 4 seconds to go. And the penalty's up, and Baker is back on the field. So Franklin did a good job. Ballerino sends it deep. For Ryan Hanchett. Jack Fairweather has it now, trying to attack the net, spinning through. A pass there just mishandled by let's see, that was Charlie Ballerino. And the Panthers will have to reset with under 6 to go in the second period. Charge here. A little looping shot is steered away on the attempt by Thomas Quinn, the junior midfielder. And Ryan Hanchett will go back to chase it down for Franklin and put the ball in play with 5:40 to go. Clock moving here in the second period. Fairweather. Nate Walsh will move it back. Walsh coming through. Pass in front. A beautiful pass.
Oh, yeah.
And the goal there. Just a tremendous pass by the Panthers, and they tie it up. I believe that was Ballerino. Check on that. And it is. Charlie Ballerino ties the game at 2. Charlie scores at 5:19. Beautiful pass. And Franklin and Shrewsbury are all evened up now with 5:19 left. We'll see if that goal sparks the Panthers. The draw at midfield. Locked up, and Franklin wins it. Nice pick up there. On the right wing is Flynn Baker. Flynn, one of their captains, along with McCarthy and Friedman. This is Baker, holding it off the right side. He loops it back, and it's picked up on a bounce or two by Quinn Keelty.
And Baker had something to say to the official as he went by to him. I'm sure referencing why wasn't there penalties called on that, on Shrewsbury there.
Essam is out, and coming back in is Thomas Quinn for Franklin. 4:35 left. We're tied at 2. Jack Fairweather for the recent scorer, Charlie Ballerino. Ballerino. Off the left side for Quinn. Thomas Quinn, he's going to shoot. It's wide. And back there for it was Ryder Hanchett.
Nice effort there by Quinn, just stayed a little bit wide.
Hanchett now. Back to Thomas Quinn. He's going to shoot right in front. Just a little bit off target, and McRae went down on a knee, but the ball was wide. Just barely under 4 to go here in the second. Fairweather. Quinn Keelty to Thomas Quinn. Quinn for Keelty. Off the left shoulder. Pass there. The shot is a one-hopper. Too wide by Nate Walsh. Franklin will keep its offense out in the lead zone here. Looking to go ahead again. Fairweather with a nice catch.
Yeah, it was unable to keep his momentum going towards the net, having to leap for that ball.
Quinn. And here's the shot. Again, the one hopper by Walsh. Just a little bit off target. And Franklin will retain this long possession. Hanchett. Keelty. The shot there is wide again by Walsh. Walsh has had a number of good looks.
Yeah.
Franklin's getting the shots they want. Just slightly off target.
I'm going to say Walsh is the leader on the stat sheet of shot attempts.
Yeah, exactly. Under 3 to go. Here's Walsh again. Close, and a blast by Quinn Keelty is off target. Franklin again. Jay, they've had this ball about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2:52 to go. First half, we're tied at 2. Type of game that Shrewsbury wants, low scoring. And there's the shot. It's a little bit wide, and to the back line goes Nate Walsh to chase it down. Left wing. Quinn. Shrewsbury packing the crease in front of their goalkeeper. Here's the shot by Quinn, and he finally pours it home. Thomas Quinn becomes the third Panther to score. He scores at 2:25, and the Panthers once again have a lead. No team has led by more than one goal. Franklin 1-0, then a tie. Shrewsbury 2-1, then a tie. Now Franklin 3-2.
That was a nice shot. It finally went up high with the shot and went right over the right shoulder of the goalkeeper.
Beautiful goal by Thomas Quinn. So the goal scorers, Walsh, Ballerino, and Quinn. I'm waiting for Tarantino to feed Ballerino so I can say Tarantino to Ballerino for a goal. Let's hope that happens someday. Talking about Joey Tarantino, the junior for Franklin, and Charlie Ballerino, the sophomore. Here we go, 3-2, last 2:20 of the first half. O'Connor for Franklin. The all-important next goal. Will it be tied, or will Franklin have a 2-goal lead? Down low is Charlie Ballerino. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Now in the game for Franklin is Finn Mitchell, the senior midfielder. Also in there is Jackson Palmieri.
How often, Pete, would you guess that there are 2 players by the first name Flynn?
No, he's Finn.
Oh, I thought you said Flynn.
Yeah, he's Finn. Yeah, kind of a new name. Finn.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
You know what? I think it became popular with. There's a character on the show Stranger Things.
Okay.
Which is a real popular, I think, a Netflix show.
1:18 to go. Colonials finally get possession. Chasing it downfield is Cameron Moore, and he takes a hit, and it's another penalty on Weber.
Yeah.
Alex Weber. And that's going to be yet, I think, the 6th penalty of the first half against Franklin.
The Shrewsbury player had already gotten rid of the ball. He didn't have the ball, so there wasn't a need for the contact from behind at all. And that brought the flag out.
It is Quinn Keelty going out. No, I'm sorry. Alex Weber. Weber going out. 1 minute is the penalty, and so this will pretty much exhaust the remaining portion of the second period. 1:07 to go in that. Franklin 3, Shrewsbury 2. Shrewsbury with the player up. Barranco, look inside.
Nice save.
Save by Friedman. Beautiful save there by Friedman on the blast by Jack Aloisi.
Yeah, that was skipping along the ground there. That was not an easy ball to pick up.
Drew McCarthy carries it out for Franklin.
Oh, that's going to be a flag.
Wow.
Multiple flags.
Taking the hit there was Drew McCarthy. Franklin with 28 seconds to go. 20 on the penalty to Weber. And now stoppage of play. Franklin, I think, called the timeout to stop the play to set something up. And they'll be at even strength now. And then Franklin will have the advantage for 43 seconds after the, for 43 seconds after this penalty is exhausted. Only 17 to go.
Or longer.
Or longer.
I think they may be discussing whether or not that hit should be a 2 minute.
Okay.
Or a locked-in penalty.
So Davenport discussing it with Benson. Long discussion going on. And I think they're talking about which restaurant to hit for lunch. 23.
Well, Doug is a Medfield guy.
Oh, okay.
So he's going
Anything
to Noon Hill or whatever, High Noon.
So that long discussion. And Benson will go over to the scorer's table and inform the staff there.
And he's going to talk to the Shrewsbury coach, which would indicate it's going to be locked in.
Not a good sign there.
No. And the coach didn't have a overly positive reaction.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much time the penalty will bring.
First Shrewsbury penalty. Franklin has had 3 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
3 minutes to Cameron Moore, their captain.
And I believe it is locked in, which means Franklin can score as many times as it wants, and Cameron is not coming out of that penalty area.
What is the rule on that? Sometimes it doesn't have to be that way?
It's normally not.
Okay.
The locked-in part of it is saved, and obviously this penalty will carry over into the second half.
Right.
It's up to the officials. It's for a more egregious penalty, which that was a blindside, way upfield hit.
And I think the signal for that, Jay, is similar like a safety in football.
That's exactly what it is.
I saw that signal. Yep. 6 second. Franklin will let the clock expire. So they will not fool around here in the second period, they'll look for a player up for 2 minutes and 37 seconds in the third quarter to start that quarter. So Franklin there just killed the ball, and they finished their own penalty, and now they'll have the advantage when we come back. Well, your thoughts about the first half, Jay?
I thought it was interesting. Franklin, despite their miscues, they still come out of the half with the lead.
Yeah.
And that didn't look like it would always be the case.
So we'll have 24 minutes of lacrosse left. We're going to take a break here from sunny Piscini Stadium, temperature in the low 70s. And we're going to break for about 8 more minutes and come back for the start of the second half. So we hope you stay tuned for that. Your score at halftime is Franklin 3 and Shrewsbury 2. We'll be back to Piscini Stadium after we pause for these breaks. Welcome back to Piscini Stadium for the second half of today's boys lacrosse game between Franklin and Shrewsbury. Pete Royce, Jay Horgan, Chris Leverone here. And Jay, 24 minutes, pretty good competitive first half. Penalty marred for Franklin, but somehow, as you said, they escaped with a lead.
Yeah, and they also escaped with starting this quarter off, Pete, with a one-man advantage for 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
Yep, and as you said, it's a lockdown penalty, which means that if Franklin scores, the player stays in the box because of the nature of the hit. So the goal scorers for today, Nate Walsh for Franklin, Charlie Ballerino, and Thomas Quinn. And for Shrewsbury, one player, Tyler Barranco's got them both. We start the second half now. Franklin in the home white with a record of 5-0 on the season. The Shrewsbury High Colonials 3-4. By the way, a good crowd on hand. Jay, I was doing a little quick head count. I think somewhere around 250 people are at this game right now.
Not bad.
And a good contingent of Colonial rooters, too, on the far side.
Yeah, if you remember, for the boys' basketball state tournament game, they had a lot of people travel down here for that game.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting, Jay. They didn't start the half with a face-off. They started with Franklin where they had called it, where the time expired.
And that is because of the penalty.
And another penalty coming up here.
Yeah.
Let's see who this one is on. It's going to be on Franklin.
Franklin, yeah.
So that's going to nullify some of the big penalty against Moore. Yet another penalty for Franklin. It's going to be
on Fairweather?
Fairweather for 1 minute. So now that makes it Franklin on the power play for just 1:22 after the next minute. See how this turns out. The Colonials with the ball as they take it into the offensive zone. We're even strength at the moment for the next 54 seconds. This is Barranco. You got to watch him. He's got both goals for the Colonials. Sun peering through some milky clouds. Barranco holding. To the top. Back to Barranco. Backpedaling there is Liam Dowd. Barranco. Nice defense by the Panthers. Now,
nice
space.
pass.
What a save by Friedman.
Yeah.
He sprawled out and saved it to his left side.
What a nice pass, though, on that attempt by Shrewsbury. Another great save.
That was a shot by Liam Dowd. 4 seconds left on the penalty to Fairweather. 2 seconds to go. And Fairweather is back on the field. Dowd. Franklin with a player up now for 112. With it there is Peter O'Donnell. This is he with it.
Good job by Shrewsbury just eating time on that penalty.
Sean Renahan for the Colonial. There's another push. At least that Shrewsbury player was in bounds that time and no late hit. And the Panthers will have it with 47 seconds to go on the penalty to Moore of Shrewsbury. Franklin looking to get a 2-goal lead for the first time today. Quinn Keelty. Wanted to shoot. Now the underhand shot in the goal. Jack O'Connor lights it up. And remember, because of the type of penalty, the player for Shrewsbury stays in the box, and Franklin leads it 4-2. The fourth different goal scorer for Franklin. Jack O'Connor at 9:50.
Which that's a positive for the Panthers today, having multiple goal scorers.
Yeah, how do you defend that, right? If you have one star like their player, Barranco, you can key on him. But when Franklin spreads it out like that, that's a different story.
Yeah.
O'Connor scores at 9:50. The first 2-goal lead for the Panthers. And again, still the penalty player in the box. That is Cameron Moore. His penalty is winding down, though. Franklin with another shot and another goal. Wow. It's O'Connor again, the same type of style, Jay, an underhand delivery. He makes it 5-2. 2 power play goals. There's still 11 seconds to go. What a critical penalty that was.
Yeah.
Because it was a lockdown penalty as Jay described it.
Yeah, and it's allowed the Panthers the opportunity to open right now a 3-goal lead with still 11 seconds left on the penalty.
And you wonder if this game is going to go the way that the Shrewsbury scrimmage with Canton went. Coach Baker told me they hung with Canton for about a half.
Yeah.
And now here it is, up to a 3-goal lead for Franklin after a very tight first half when Shrewsbury actually led for a good chunk of it.
Penalty's over.
Here's Quinn Keelty, but a very difficult burden for the Colonials. They give up 2 power play goals. Walsh has it for Franklin. How about Jack O'Connor with 2 underhand shots to score low? Quinn gets through. His shot, the save by McRae. On a nice save by McRae. Luke McRae turns it back. Ball is on the turf. Franklin goes back for it. What a pick.
Oh, nice
what
job.
What a pick there by
That's huge.
Quinn
huge.
Keelty. On the dead run, scoops it up, going backwards.
On the bounce, too.
Exactly.
Great job by Keelty.
Franklin now behind the goal to Jack Fairweather. Thomas Quinn. His shot, and
Another
that
goal.
gets through again. Thomas Quinn. The goalkeeper, McRae, turned back for it, but Thomas Quinn scores it at 8:08. Franklin with 3 goals here in the last minute and 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Quinn joins the scoring column. That's actually his second, so he's got 2. O'Connor's got 2.
There is a Panther player down favoring his right leg, actually now being helped off by a couple of teammates as trainer Jim went out. And, of course, like high school boys do, as soon as Jen got there, they walked past her.
Let's see who is that limping off. Might have been Fairweather.
Now he's
Jack Fairweather.
I'm trying to get that as he hobbles to the end of the bench. And, of course, someone stands right in front of him.
Yeah, he is going to take a seat. You know, Jack Fairweather, Jay, had one of the most spectacular goals the other day. I forget which team. It might have been, it wasn't the Canton game. I think it was the Foxborough game when they really needed it.
Yeah.
He was facing the goal, facing away from the goal. In other words, back to the goal on the offensive end. He caught the ball and shoved it behind, over the top of his head, backwards, right into the goal. I happened to run into him on the parking, heading out of the stadium after the game. I said, Jack, how did you ever do that? He said, I had no idea.
It is, Pete, I think, especially, I never played the sport, and a lot of people from, in our age group or so, it wasn't a big thing when we were growing up. We did have it at my high school, but there weren't a lot of high schools in Connecticut where I was that played lacrosse. So I think, it has been difficult for kids to pick up, and it's just the naturally athletic kids that, would throw the behind-the-back pass in basketball or something like that you wouldn't normally expect.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of a surprise, how about Evan DeFrancisco? He's going to take the draw for Franklin. Now, he's a sophomore. Jay, this is his first year playing lacrosse. He was on JVs. The coach saw the JV game saying, look at this guy on the face-offs, and he brought him up because he needed a backup face-off person. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore, and he's going to go out. And he had a great game against Canton when they needed him because their lead goal, the one who usually takes the draw, he was out for a while, I believe, with a penalty. So Evan DiFrancesco, he's going to go out after taking the face-off.
It's also interesting, Pete, how through the years that has developed into a position. Just an individual just taking the face-off.
The Canton face-off person has a Division I scholarship for that reason.
Franklin has sent a handful of players to Division I schools just as face-off personnel.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Speaking of alumni, Franklin, I believe, has a number of alumni along the sidelines today. And so we saw Will Davis. He was here. Lazaro, I think, was here too. And Lazaro, Jay, was going to transfer from Penn State to Boston College.
Oh, good for him.
The shot there, the save by McCray. That was another blast by O'Connor.
Did you ask Lazaro if there was any NIL involved in that?
I should have, right?
Yeah. And does he need some help with it?
Yeah,
that,
right.
that would be the more important question.
You need an agent. 6:46 left here in the third. Franklin's opened it up a bit, 6-2, but it wasn't easy to get to this point. Shrewsbury led at one point, 2-1 with 2 consecutive goals. And that was all the way down to the 10:36 mark of the second period. And Franklin finally tied it at 5:19. That's how close it was. Jordan Gaspar behind the net over to Ryder Hanchett. It's Walsh. Franklin also sends out in there Seamus Conlon. Whistle stops play, violation on Franklin. The ball will go back to the Colonials. Trailing at 6-2. No goals for the Colonials here in the third period. They had 1 in the first and 1 in the second. Colonials started out to midfield. Contact there. Race for the ball. Franklin with a great dive. That was a hustle play to win the ball over. And that was turned in there by Tyler Crandall. And he's going to get a high five and a tap on the helmet by Captain Drew McCarthy. The captain appreciates the play of Tyler Crandall. Ryder Hanchett. Back around it comes to the Panthers. Coming up on 5.5 to go in the third. This is Conlon. Seamus. Senior. Ball turned back, and Gaspar will chase it down for Franklin.
Nice save. Got a stick on that.
Yeah, McCray's done a good job. Only a sophomore. Again, one of 11 underclassmen suited up for this game by Shrewsbury. Coach Nate Skirmont, he is a graduate of Springfield College. He teaches phys ed at Shepherd Hill.
Oh.
Ball off the post again on the shot by Ben Skasha.
I know a couple of people that teach out at Shepherd Hill. Mm-hmm. Buddy of mine used to be their football coach.
Dudley, right, Jay?
Yep.
He is Skirmont, originally from Syracuse, New York area.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Here's Finn Mitchell.
I lived up there.
Did you? Yeah.
Might have he and I may be new best friends.
Out for Walsh. Franklin in control here a bit more now in the third. Walsh.
It makes sense then, with you saying that, Pete, that he would be a lacrosse coach. Lacrosse is huge. Obviously, Syracuse has a tremendous program.
Yes.
As that shot bounces over the net.
Yeah, by Conlon.
But a lot of it is traced back to this will blow your mind. The Onondaga Indians were the people, and they just scored there, Franklin did.
What a goal by Ryder Hanchett. Falling down, Jay.
Yeah.
But continue on. I'm interested in this history about the start of
lacrosse. You know what? They waved the goal off.
They waved
Crease
it off.
violation.
Okay. 4:04 to go. So you're saying?
Yeah, let me get back to that really interesting story. The Onondaga Indians are credited with kind of bringing lacrosse. They used to play it back in the 1500s up in that area.
Wow.
I only know because I did a report on it when I was at a camp.
No kidding. So game started by Native Americans.
Yeah.
And is there any, like there's a city in Wisconsin called Lacrosse? Is that anything to do with the Onondaga
You know what?
Indians?
Maybe it may. I'm not sure. Geez, that's something I'm not sure of.
Yeah. I'm very familiar, having spent a year in Syracuse myself. I was reminiscing with Skirmont about my time up there in snow country.
Yeah,
I
you're telling me.
Had 13 feet of snow the year I was there.
We had 13 feet a week, it seemed like.
Veronco, what a series of moves he put
Yeah.
on. Spectacular moves.
Spinning one way,
Yeah.
sidestepping the other.
He's a nifty player. He's got the 2 goals for Shrewsbury. There's an errant pass. Total unforced error. And the Panthers have it back, and now they send it into the hands of a stickmate of Shrewsbury. Over to Aiden Linehan Steele.
Flag against Franklin.
The shot saved by Friedman and stopped there by Drew McCarthy. So yet another penalty. This has been a problem for Franklin the last 2 games. Canton in here today, a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
They'll be shorthanded for. We'll see how long.
I'm going to guess it's going to be 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
It did not, it wasn't like that huge
Yeah.
hit we saw right in front of us.
Yeah. And this
Yeah, a minute.
this is going to be Drew McCarthy, this captain defender. His dad, one of the assistant coaches at Franklin. So he'll go in the box for 1 minute, and Shrewsbury will need looking to get some new life. And a turnover. This will not help the Shrewsbury cause. Franklin chips it forward. That was a neat play there by Franklin. And making that play was Flynn Baker. He couldn't
Timeout.
reach it, but he just poked it forward.
Yeah.
Real nice job. Killed some seconds off the clock. 43 seconds to go on the penalty to Drew McCarthy. Enjoyed our lesson on the history of lacrosse from Professor Jay Horrigan. That was great.
It's a chance that was the last book I read. My philosophy is if a book is good enough, it'll become a movie. And I can get through it in 2 hours. But
Yeah. So 2:15 to go. So no scoring by Shrewsbury. The one thing, you looked at their strong defense, but Franklin's only given up 2 goals to,
Yeah.
a team that's scrappy. And that's a tribute to them. And also a tribute to the goalkeeper. They've had good goalkeeping from Sam Friedman, the senior. He's grown over the years so much, Jay. I remember him as an underclassman.
yeah,
And it was sort of, would he be the starter? And boy, has he come through now.
I would say, Franklin up 4 goals right now, and clearly were helped by that locked-in penalty starting the second half. But they're up 4 despite almost themselves. They have so many penalties. They've had a lot of errant passes. They've put the ball on the field numerous times. It by no stretch has been a clean, well-executed game by the Panthers.
Nope. This has been a bit of a problem, and this is why you have the middle of the season to work this out.
Yeah.
And they'll need to work it out come playoff time, which will be approaching before we know it.
Oh, Will, if the weather stays nice, Pete,
Oh,
it
my
starts flying, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So a good crowd on hand, as we said, lining the track, good contingent of Shrewsbury rooters, and a nice delegation cheering on the white and blue of Franklin here on the home game for the Panthers. Panthers have it, trying to kill this penalty. 35 seconds to go on it. Penalty to McCarthy. Whistle stops play here.
They're gonna. It's gonna be Franklin ball. I think they called the hold, a loose ball hold on Shrewsbury.
Okay, so it'll be guilty with it. Trying to kill off the last 20 seconds of the penalty to McCarthy. And the ball comes way
Again.
out. There's one of those
Another errant, yeah.
offside called against Franklin. That defender cannot cross that
Yeah.
midfield stripe and Gasper took a step over the line to try to get the ball.
It looked like the two players, Gasper and the Shrewsbury player, were, it was almost like a box out in basketball or two linemen trying to block each other.
Yeah, Fairweather was in on that play. He pushes the Colonial. Penalty is up, and there's another hard hit going down is Jacob Carter. What's going to be, is there a call there? No. Carter was in the field of play. He was spilled hard.
Yeah, they just awarded the ball to Shrewsbury.
1:26 to go in the third period. 6-2, Franklin with the lead. Scooting around there was Peter O'Donnell. Ball is loose. Chased down. This Franklin is so good putting that pressure on when the ball is up in the air like that. Or on the ground, I should say. Up for grabs.
That's where Franklin having just good athletic players
yes. You
helps.
said it. You said it, Jay. They're so deep.
Yeah.
And so fast. Ball comes hopping in
Nice
on the one hopper.
save.
Friedman will go behind his net, clear some space with 43 seconds to go in the period. Sam Friedman. He's going to take it up. He leaves that goal unattended. He's going to take
living
it all
the dream.
way.
Living the dream.
And now he's going to check back.
And it was offsides.
Offside.
They had too many players. Not one of
Not
the
enough in
goalie's
back
going to
line.
do that. Yeah, one of the offensive guys has to stay back.
So Friedman tried to pick his spot. It was denied. Here's Aloisi. 20 seconds to go in the period.
And that's just a mental mistake
Yep.
there by the Panthers.
Cameron Moore. He takes a hit, and that's going to be
a
another
flag.
penalty on Franklin. It's going to be on Fairweather. Wow. I've lost track. Jack Fairweather is going to go out at 8.2 seconds to go. You don't want to wake up a sleeping bear here with
Be
the
a
Colonials.
30-second penalty.
Yeah, it's on Fairweather. Jack, the senior midfielder.
I just heard, and obviously I hear this stuff because I'm an official. We did just get, hey, ref, what number's your kid on the field? So that took till the second half, so credit to the people there.
There's the horn. 22 seconds left on the penalty to Fairweather as we start the third quarter. Franklin got 3 goals early. Their last goal came at 8:38 of the period. And then they protected that lead throughout the remaining 8:38 to wind it down at the end of 3. 12 minutes to go here in the game. Franklin 6. Shrewsbury 2. The goal scorers for Franklin in this order: Walsh, Ballerino, Quinn, O'Connor. O'Connor had 3 in a row, and Quinn had another goal. So O'Connor with 3. And let's see if I have that. No, I'm sorry, O'Connor, 2 in a row, not 3. I had the first half over in second. It's 2 goals by O'Connor in the third period. And so that makes it 6-2. So O'Connor with 2, Quinn with 2, Ballerino with 1, and Walsh with 1 for the Franklin High Panthers. Both goals scored by Tyler Barranco, a very interesting player for Shrewsbury. Very quick, very skilled. He's got 2 of his goals both in the first half. So we stand at 6-2, 12 minutes to go here in the sunlight of Piscini Stadium on a nice morning here in mid-April. Summer-like conditions, weather in the low 70s as we started this contest. We'll see if it's inched up at all from that point. But it's just a tremendous atmosphere with a good crowd on hand at Piscini Stadium. The final 12, Franklin will be defending the goal to the left and Shrewsbury the goal to the right. Franklin will try to hold on. The temperature is now up to 77 degrees.
Man.
Wow. I had a game here the early season. It must have been 33 with like a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
I bet.
Snow flurries, sleet,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. Not today. Not today, indeed. So Shrewsbury will play on again. with the ball in the offensive zone with the player up. Cole Kammerer with it. Colonials. 9 seconds left on the penalty to Fairweather. Point blank range. Wow. That was like 10 feet away for Aloisi, and he misfired. And I'll tell you, Friedman just stared it down. Penalty is up. We're at even strength here.
Friedman was ready for
and
there.
There is a open play there and the goal. The goal by one of those high-numbered players, Jacob Carter. Carter makes it 6-3. Jacob Carter. He scores for Shrewsbury, their first goal since the second period. Goal comes at 11:32. It's 6-3 now.
You know, that wasn't a power play goal, but I do think it was somewhat influenced with them having to kill off the penalty for so long.
Mm-hmm. Penalty's a big problem for the Panthers here today. So they go a long time between scores. Their last score was at 10:36 of the first period. They go the rest of that period, the whole third period, and almost a minute, half a minute in this period until they get their next goal. Bodies on the floor. Franklin will be on defense.
Yeah, loose ball push.
Yep.
Against Franklin. So it'll be Shrewsbury. Oh, no. Calling it against Shrewsbury.
Okay.
My mistake.
Go over to Drew McCarthy. 6-3 now with 11:24 to go. We mentioned Shrewsbury, a lot of low-scoring games, 8-3, 6-5, 6-3, 3-0. Some wins, some losses, but this is their style of play, low scoring. Here on the right out is Quinn Keelty. Keelty to the middle. Nice pass. Oh, just a little bit too strong there. And it's mishandled. The ball will go back to the Colonials.
And those are the things, the little things, Pete, that this team has to work on.
Just missing Ballerino.
Yeah.
And there's a misfire the other way. And here come the Panthers again. Drew McCarthy with it. To the top. Nice leaping catch by O'Connor with 2 goals. Just underway here in the fourth period. Quinn Keelty. Seamus Conlon. Panthers take it behind. This is O'Connor with it now. Franklin in no hurry. They do have a 3-goal lead. Fairweather.
It's interesting, Pete. The MIAA just sent out a survey to coaches and officials and for lacrosse. And one of the discussion points is the possibility of instituting a shot clock, which they have in college.
Mm-hmm.
So a team can't do what, you know, Franklin, like you said, they're in no hurry, nor should they be. They've got a 3-goal lead, and it's all about winning.
So no
rush.
Yeah, no rush and no rule against the four-corner
Right,
offense
right.
at the moment, but we'll see. Into the game now is Jack Nelson. Nelson, senior, plays up front. Walsh will get things started for the Panthers off the left wing. He'll drop it for Keelty, who gets knocked down, and here's the turnover. Though it's going to be a push.
Push, yep.
Keelty was hoping for the whistle. He got one from Eric Benson, the official, working with Doug Davenport. Doug brought his signs to the game, recruiting lacrosse officials. Said,
he brings them everywhere, and he has for years. Doug has been officiating lacrosse, I think, since the Onondaga Indians were playing it. Doug is does both high school and college lacrosse, has done a number of state finals in lacrosse, also done a Super Bowl in football.
8:50 to go in the game. Franklin holding on. Walsh way out deep near the midfield line. He's going to charge in. Franklin looking for somebody in front. Can't find it. Ballerino. Around we go. Just caught there nicely by the Panthers. O'Connor, he's had a good game. No, that's not O'Connor. That is Keelty. Keelty scores it. Keelty to counter the recent Shrewsbury goal with one of his own. It's 7-3. The score comes at 8:22. Quinn Keelty.
Great job by Keelty, kind of switching hands as he was approaching the net, giving that shot a little different angle.
Keelty gets his first goal to join the scoring column. Again, O'Connor with 2 and Thomas Quinn with 2. Now Walsh, Balducci, and Ballerino and Keelty have 1 each. 7-3, 8:20 to go. Quickly upfield in front, and there's the counter goal right away.
That was a breakdown on the defense there of Franklin, and you can see Friedman talking to his defenders on what I think he would like to see with that. It just seemed that no one really challenged the Shrewsbury player who had the ball early enough and allowed him to get, 8 feet from the net?
Yep, and that's Jacob Carter, and he gets his second consecutive goal. Jay, the Colonials scored 17 seconds. I'm sorry. Yeah, 10 seconds after the Franklin goal. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
2 goals by Carter now. It's 7-4. 8 minutes to go. Colonials with the ball again, looking for more. Here's a tall player coming upfield, Justin Lee. He's a long stick midfielder. Long stick, only one in the midfield. It's aimed to be a real asset for your defense. A longer stick can block a lot more shots.
Yeah.
Franklin will get the ball back on the turnover. They lead it by 4 again. Shrewsbury hanging around. It's 7-4. This is Keelty, who had the last Panther goal. Seamus Conlon will now check over the defense. 7.5 to go. Finn Mitchell in there to the back line for Ballerino.
Keelty's going to go out for a moment and get some rest.
Fairweather, around the horn it comes.
And Walsh has the ball. He was the one who replaced Keelty.
7:02 to go in the game. 2 quick goals by Shrewsbury's Jacob Carter. Wow. It was all Barranco in the first half. Long possession again ensuing for the Panthers.
But they've almost got this down, Pete, to halfway through the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
And a lot of it has been just them passing around the ball on the perimeter of their offensive end.
Walsh with it. He's going to make a move. 360. Comes all the way through. Gets the shot off. It's wide and chased back there by Jack Fairweather with 6:20 to go.
I think you can only keep high school boys from running to the net and trying to score for so long.
Franklin again. And take it down to almost the midway
Could hear
mark.
Coach Baker shouting for them to pull it out.
Uh-huh.
As some of the guys, Walsh, I think, wanted to go to the net.
7-4. Time winding down.
Oh, nice move.
This is Keelty. We're under 6 to go. Keelty's going to clear out. See if he takes it to the middle. Quinn Keelty. No, he goes left side all the way in. A looping pass down low. Another pass in front. And it's errant. It's going to be hustled back there. Finn Mitchell, he gets to it just before the sideline. Struggling with it. Finn, and it's going to be a whistle. A foul called against Shrewsbury.
Yeah, loose ball hold there.
Good hustle by Finn Mitchell. Couldn't secure it, but he drew the foul, and Mitchell has it for the Panthers.
And approaching the 5-minute mark now, Pete.
Yep.
This possession's been almost 2 minutes.
Yes, it has been. Seamus Conlon now, in front of the Franklin bench.
Yeah, just heard one of the parents, shout out, White, take care of it. This is where you've got to be sure on every pass because if you can control the ball for as much as this last 5 minutes as possible, you walk away with the W.
Seamus Conlon will drop it back.
So
Guilty. Shoots, misfires, but Franklin's there for it again. What did they call that?
I think they thought it was a pass. They judged it being a pass. They had called also, it may be a result, they had told Franklin they had to keep the ball in that offensive end. So it ended up going out, which created a turnover.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of the rule to somewhat offset the four corners. And I don't know if people listening to us, Pete, remember the four corners. So we may just be talking to ourselves.
Referencing the famous offense put in by Dean Smith at North Carolina in basketball until he would just kill it for like a half, right?
Yeah. he'd be up 22-20.
Yeah.
And that his players would get it over midcourt and then just stand in the four corners, and they would pass it around, and that ended up resulting eventually in them installing a shot clock.
4:12 left here, speaking of clocks, 7-4. Shrewsbury hanging around. This is the type of game they love, defensive struggle more or less, and their defense has kept the Panthers somewhat at bay with only 7 goals. This is a high-scoring Panther team. The Panthers, Jay, have winning goal scores of 19, 15, 18, 10, and 10, and 7 here so far today. Only 4:12 left in the game.
Yeah, they. It's interesting to watch and watch, athletes like Kilty out there being able to work the ball and cradle it and pass it with both hands. So like we were talking about before, they're very athletic kids on it. If they can clean up some of those mental errors, the dropping of the ball or errant passes, who knows what this team is capable of doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they have a good chunk of season to clear that up. 4:12 left here. 7-4, along with our producer, Chris Levereau, Pete Royce, and Jay Horrigan. So happy to bring you Franklin High Lacrosse on this 77-degree day now here in Franklin.
Beautiful weather for Easter weekend. It's really, really nice.
Tyler Barranco will get things started for the Colonials. They need 3 goals here in the final 4.5. Eloise. And they'll backpedal it out. Eloise switches over to the right side. He'll leave it for Liam Dowd. Dowd gets by Frollo, who's in the game. Andrew Frollo. Dowd. And it's knocked away by the captain, Flynn Baker. What a play.
Oh, and that's going to be a push against
Balducci.
Yeah, Balducci. Just was kind of running up the field, and there was a Shrewsbury player in front of him, and he just pushed him in the back to the ground.
3:32 to go. It was a great steal by Flynn Baker. But now Shrewsbury will go a player up for 1 minute. They're going to wait a minute. They got a foul on Shrewsbury. Liam Dowd. Wow. That must have been
I'm not sure what
before the Balducci hit.
that had to be.
Yeah, Dowd is in the box, so Franklin will be a player up. They're in the driver's seat here. O'Connor looking for more of the Panthers. They're closing in. The rim is tight. O'Connor, he's going to shoot. It hits the side of the stick and maybe caught the post and drifts away.
You know what? It looked like it also may have hit the leg of the Shrewsbury goalkeeper as he kind of hops around.
Yeah.
The goalies in lacrosse are I don't know what they are. I guess they're special.
They are special.
Because who would want a hard rubber ball thrown at you at like 70 miles an hour?
I know it. And that's a mishandled pass there intended for Fairweather. He's tall, but he's not that tall.
Yeah.
18 seconds left on the penalty to Liam Dowd for Shrewsbury. So they did a good job defending that. Franklin couldn't get it going. The high pass went astray for Fairweather. Clock is still stopped. Now it starts with 2:45 left. 12 seconds left on the penalty to Dowd for Shrewsbury. Goalkeeper McRae way out of his box. He gets it over to Dowd, who's out of the penalty area now. 2:30 left in the game. I'm sorry, that was not Dowd. That was Ryan Quersha. And now,
nice
the
play
steal
there.
By Drew McCarthy. He is such a smart player.
Yeah.
McCarthy in front. He couldn't get his stick was somebody handcuffed him.
Yeah.
And he looped one.
And the stick was so high above his head. I'm sure he was like, here is my opportunity to.
He might
no.
hear about that.
I'm going to guess he will.
After the game. 2:04 to go in this one. Franklin 7, Shrewsbury 4.
So Franklin has to keep it in that offensive box now. I think they just called the timeout.
Yep. They did with 1:55 to go. Well, taking a look at the the Franklin schedule coming up. They'll be a week from today at Bishop Fee, that's a 10 o'clock start.
That'll be, I bet that will be a battle.
And then just 2 days later, on Tuesday, Franklin will be at Sharon. So 2 road games for Franklin. Then they return home on the 30th of April to close out the month against Stoughton. And then back on the road to Catholic Memorial. That's on May 3rd, and that's a 12:30 game at CM. Franklin will also play Boston College High, St. John's of Shrewsbury, Longmeadow, and Walpole. Those are some nice opponents for Franklin. They will be tested come playoff time, which will start somewhere around May 25th or so. We've got about a month to go. That's it. Maybe a little over a month for the regular season to unfold, and then we'll be in playoff mode once again.
Yeah.
So Franklin with goals here today by several different goal scorers. O'Connor has had 2 for Franklin, and also 2 is Thomas Quinn, Walsh with 1, Ballerino with 1, and Keelty with 1 for the total of 7. For Shrewsbury, Jacob Carter has their last 2 goals. Tyler Barranco has their first 2. So Franklin has only given up 4. They've given up 4 twice this season, wins at Milford, but that was 15-4, and Canton 10-4. And then no goals, a shutout against Taunton. Then 1 goal against Oliver Ames. The big goals that they gave was against Foxborough. That's a game that coach refers back as a gut check game for you. They were down and they came back and won it.
Yeah.
Final score 10-8. 1:56 to go, 55 to go here in this one from sun-drenched Piscini Stadium with about 250 fans looking on. Good crowd taking in this contest. So Franklin will have it. Waiting for the referee to clear the play, and he does, and here we go.
They have, now they've got to keep it in. They had, I believe it's a 20-second count to get it into the box, and once they get it in, they had to keep it.
90 seconds left in this one. Franklin. Don't put it past him to get another score here.
No.
Here's Walsh for the Panthers. Walsh opened up the scoring. Be fitting if he ends it. Finn Mitchell. Finn with 1:06 to go in this game. Franklin charging through. They'll hold it. Little bobble picked up by Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury has it. Under a minute left. This is Justin Lee. His pass is picked off in there on a great play by Quinn Keelty. What a play by Keelty. He has his arm hooked, but he gets through it.
Yeah.
Keelty charging up. He will sidestep it to the sideline. Still holding, and now he loses the ball with 38 seconds to go. Whistle stops play. The ball will go to Shrewsbury with 38 seconds to go. That was an all-out effort by Quinn Keelty.
Yeah.
Shrewsbury ball, 36.8 seconds to go. This is Cameron Moore. A long pass. It's caught by Justin Lee. Player stumbling. He goes down, and that's going to be another penalty.
You know what?
And the shot in the goal. The goal there. Was that Carter again?
They're waving off the penalty because they scored.
Okay. Let's check out the goal scorer. Yes, it's Jacob Carter, his third consecutive goal. He's got the hat trick. Carter with 3 goals, all in this period, 11:37, 8:05, and 24.6. It's 7-5. 24.6 seconds to go. Stranger things have happened than for the Colonials to not pull out a victory.
Huge face-off here.
The Panthers up by 2. And with the draw is Rocco Lampasona. Lampasona. Ball on the turf. Advancing to the Shrewsbury zone with 12 seconds to go. Out of bounds. It's going to go. Let's see. No call. It's going to go to Shrewsbury. No, Franklin.
No, Franklin, yeah.
10.6 seconds to go. Ball down on the baseline. Franklin just holding it. Franklin just holding it. It's Charlie Ballerino takes a hit. Ball is loose on the turf, and that's going to do it. There's a lot of pushing now, pushing and shoving here. And
multiple, and there's another one.
Good for Fairweather to back away a little bit. You don't need anything here to any kind of misconduct or to hurt you, miss a game down the road.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I don't think we'll necessarily find out what they're going to call or if they're going to call anything. Mm-hmm. To some extent, I think they have to do something. Mm-hmm. But it was just a lot of pushing and shoving. There was no what I would call a fight.
No, and there was no really egregious violation.
Correct, yeah.
It was pushing, and the thing is that the game had ended, and Ballerino was trying to get the clock, and then they got the ball on the turf, and then they were battling for it, and that's when the time expired, and they continued on.
Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the issues. And it looks like they're just going to pick them up.
Yep, they're going to pick it up.
They're not. I see one of the officials talking to Ms. Ellis over there by the scorers table. They may make a note of it to be aware of it going forward. Mm-hmm. But so
that's going to do it. Well, Jay, it wasn't easy, but Franklin got the job done. And I'd say one of the big stars was Quinn Keelty. They really needed his fourth quarter goal. Other than that, it could be a one-goal game.
Yeah, no. Keelty was kind of the spark plug for the Panthers today.
Well, that's going to do it. So on behalf of all of you, thank you for tuning in. I'd like to thank our producer, our director, our camera operator tonight, Chris Leverone, among the first to arrive and the last to leave. For my broadcast partner, Jay Horrigan, this is Pete Royce saying so long from Piscini Stadium. The final score for the final time today, Franklin 7, Shrewsbury 5. Till next time, so long, neighbors.